The flashing red and blue lights lit up my garage like a crime scene. Officers stepped out, hands near their guns, and Karen pointed straight at my best friend, accusing him of being a criminal. Neighbors whispered, cameras rolling, and my stomach dropped. Then Matt calmly pulled out a badge, and the words Federal Bureau of Investigation silenced the entire street. Act 1. The conflict begins. My name's Logan. I'm 38, an engineer, and I live in Silver Hollow Estates, Texas, with my retired mom, Irene. It's a nice neighborhood on the surface. Tree-lined streets, trimmed lawns, identical mailboxes. But behind the perfect facade, a nightmare named Karen Malberry. Karen was the HOA president, and she didn't just enforce rules, she invented them. If your grass was an inch too high, fine. If your fence was the wrong shade of beige, fine. My mom once planted sunflowers in our front yard, bright, cheerful, nothing offensive. Karen slapped her with a $500 violation for unauthorized floral colors. I hated bullies, and Karen was the queen of them all. Clipboard always in hand, blonde bob stiff with hairspray, oversized sunglasses covering eyes that never stopped scanning. She thrived on fear, and most of the neighbors just gave in. I tried ignoring her, kept my head down, tinkered in my garage, took my buddy Matt fishing when he stopped by. But the more she saw him, the more her paranoia kicked in. She started snapping photos of his truck, writing down license plates, muttering to neighbors about suspicious outsiders. One Friday evening, Matt pulled into my garage like usual. We planned to sort through some tools before hitting the lake. That's when Karen stormed down the street in her pink blazer and white heels, like she was marching into court, clipboard tucked under her arm, phone already in hand. She yelled about systematic parking violations and unregistered vehicles, took pictures of Matt's license plate, scribbled notes, and then I couldn't believe my ears. She dialed 911, loud enough for the whole block to hear. She told dispatch there was a possible burglary in progress at my house. Act 2. Escalation and doubt. Within minutes, 2 squad cars screeched to a stop outside my driveway. Red and blue lights washed over my garage. Neighbors came out like moths to a flame, filming, whispering, thrilled to see someone else's drama for once. Officer Thompson stepped out, hand hovering near his holster. He eyed Matt like he was already guilty. "Sir, step away from the garage," he barked. Karen pounced, waving her clipboard like it was evidence. "That man is casing houses. He's been here multiple times. I demand you arrest him." My heart pounded. I tried to speak. "This is my friend. He's helping me with tools. He's not a criminal." But the officers weren't listening. They looked at Karen's notes, the photos on her phone, the carefully rehearsed lies. To them, she was the HOA president, a credible community leader. To them, I was just covering for my buddy. I glanced at Matt. He was calm. Too calm, almost unnervingly calm. I whispered, "Matt, are we about to be arrested?" He looked me dead in the eyes and asked quietly, "Do you trust me?" In that moment, I felt powerless. Karen had the narrative, the neighbors, even the police on her side. I wanted to shout, to argue, to fight. But what good would it do? For the first time, I wondered if maybe this was it. Maybe Karen had finally beaten me. Then Matt moved. Slowly, deliberately, he reached into his jacket. The officers stiffened, hands on their weapons. The crowd gasped, and then he pulled out a leather case, opened it, held it up to the flashing lights. The gold badge gleamed, the letters clear as day. Federal Bureau of Investigation. The street went silent. Matt's voice was steady, commanding, unmistakably authoritative. Special Agent Matthew Blackwell, FBI. Officer Thompson froze, then stepped back like the ground had shifted beneath him. The other officer straightened, muttered an apology. Karen's mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. Her clipboard slipped from her hands and clattered onto the pavement. The neighbors whispered louder, phones zooming in. Some laughed nervously. Others muttered, "He's FBI." Karen screwed up, and just like that, the balance of power shifted. Act 3. Climax and Justice. Matt didn't stop there, still holding his badge. He turned to Karen, his tone sharp. "Mrs. Malberry, you've interfered with a federal investigation." Karen blinked, stammered, What investigation?" Matt stepped closer, lowering his voice but loud enough for the crowd. "The HOA, Sunshine Paradise LLC. The missing funds, $2.4 million laundered through bogus community projects." Gasps rippled through the neighbors. Karen's face turned white. He pulled a folder from his car pages of records. Wire transfers, company names. He read out loud, Payments funneled to a Miami shell corporation run by your son, Marcus Malberry. Kickbacks disguised as landscaping fees. Residents charged for projects that never existed. Karen shook her head wildly. Blonde Bob trembling. Lies, all lies. But the neighbors weren't buying it anymore. My mom, Irene, stepped forward, voice trembling but clear. You fined me $500 for sunflowers. Karen, meanwhile you stole millions from us. You're the shame of this neighborhood. The crowd erupted. Neighbors piled on, one after another, sharing their stories. Forced repainting, absurd fines, threats of foreclosure, all while Karen lined her pockets. Phones streamed it all live. Hashtag Karen caught. By FBI started trending locally. Karen tried to back away, but Matt's voice cut like steel. You are under arrest for wire fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy. You have the right to remain silent. The officers who almost cuffed Matt now cuffed Karen instead. She stood frozen, mascara running, clipboard forgotten. Neighbors cheered. Some clapped. Others just stood in stunned silence, recording the fall of the tyrant who'd ruled them for years. As Karen was led to the squad car, one neighbor muttered, "About damn time." Matt closed his badge, looked at me, and finally smiled. "Told you to trust me." I let out a shaky laugh, equal parts relief and disbelief. Gee. Final beat. I didn't celebrate, didn't gloat. I just stood there, hands in my pockets, watching the car disappear down the street. Because the truth is simple. Bullies only win as long as people are afraid to challenge them. Shine a light on their lies and their empire collapses. Hey.